I'll let you record.
Well, um, I guess we're recording. I don't know if it's on your end or my end.
Okay, well, that's all right because I can send you a copy of mine too.
Okay. All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ishmael Perez. I am the author of Our Cosmic Origin, and I have a special guest today, Kimberly Palm, who is my sister from another mother.
Yes, absolutely.
How you doing, Kimberly?
I'm good, thank you. And it's funny because you just have, I told you, you have that younger brother energy feel to me, when I look at you. And it's so funny because people comment to me all the time. They're like, "Oh, the only reason that you guys all have him on your shows is because he's so good looking." And then I just kind of laugh and go, yeah, he's not my type. I like the blonde hair, blue-eyed Thor type." That's my
Yeah, that's my other brother, the fellow guardian from Asgard.
yeah. My husband has blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's a Viking. So he's a
Nice.
Scandinavian Viking. So that's anyways. But thank you for having me on your channel. I really appreciate it. We had an amazing conversation on the phone a few days ago about the stuff going on, and I hope we can talk about some of that we discussed on this video.
Yes,
So
let's do. I think people should be informed and about what's really going on, and not so much of the bait that they're feeding them. And it's almost like they've been kind of like alluring them with like a carrot on the stick for 2 years now, and it's like, when is the EBS going to happen? When are they going to bring down the cabal? When are they going to roll out the new financial system? And it's just it's almost speaking, it's like it's getting old. It's like that story, like the cry wolf, right? When they say
right.
the wolf is coming, the wolf is coming, and the wolf never comes. But so when the wolf does come, it's going to be like a surprise.
Yeah. And people keep putting out false dates. They've been putting out false dates for about 4 years now or more or longer. They've been saying next week this is going to happen, and on this date this is going to happen. And every time they give a date, it never happens. It just never happens. Because I don't know if you remember, there's a place in the Bible where in Revelations where it says he comes like a thief in the night. He comes like a thief in the night. And that always stuck in my head because we are not supposed to know the moment of our demise. We're not supposed to know the moment of anything, really. You're not supposed to know any of kind of stuff. God has a plan, and we have to follow God's plan for all of it, you know?
I agree. I agree. And I think that the events, the Great Solar Flash,
Mm-hmm.
is what's going to probably, I think that's what's going to bring in the changes more than anything. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to be a huge event that is going to transform everything in this world. Uplift the
Yep.
righteous and destroy the wicked.
Yep. Absolutely. And I kind of want to talk a little about that. So I got a vision of that 15 years ago. 15 years, and what was shown to me, and I didn't know it was the solar flash. I had no clue what I was seeing because I get prophetic visions all the time, and sometimes I have no clue what they're showing me.
Mhm.
They showed me basically all of the bad people on earth, all of the people who polarize negative. Okay, so they're mostly service to self, literally evaporating and disappearing off the planet, like just disappearing everywhere. And that was long before there was ever a Marvel Avengers movie with Thanos making people disappear. I was explaining this to somebody in her office, 2 weeks ago, and she's awake, but she doesn't know about the flash or any of that. And I was explaining it, and she goes, "Oh my God, Kimberly, what you're describing sounds just like the Marvel Avenger movie with Thanos." And I'm like, well, yeah, Hollywood shows you the truth all the time. They constantly show you what they want to do to us, or what they're going to do to us, or what's planned in the future, because you and I both know they have Operation Looking Glass, and they have the ability to look into the future. And I think you've talked about this, maybe not, that every time the cabal looks at their future in every timeline, they get wiped out in every timeline. And so they're trying to take as many of us out with them as they can before they get wiped out, because they know it doesn't end well for them.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Every culture, every ancient text talked about this event. It's known by different names. I think the Hindus call it the Sambartica fire, you know, where the
Yes.
burn and the righteous become exalted.
Yep.
Uh, well, if you trace back the original Christian prophecies, which they drew from the ancient Zoroastrianism, it was called the Frasho Coretti,
Yes.
and even the Latter Day Saints, which is
Hmm.
off branch of the Knights
LDS. Yep.
LDS, through Joseph Smith, who was entrusted with the genealogical records that could be traceable back to Abraham and the original tribes of Israel. Talked about the the purging of the wicked and the exaltation of the righteous. And the Muslims, I believe, they also have a prophetic vision, same similar vision. And so every ancient text talked about
Oh,
the
the Hopis, Native Americans,
oh yeah,
also talked about, the solar flash and about all that stuff. So yeah, it's in every single ancient tradition.
is it's so it's imminent. It's going to happen,
Hmm.
you know, but like I agree with you. Nobody knows the exact day and time, and people
No,
are giving us dates and hours are
no,
to be honest, they're just charlatans to me. You know, they're just kind of like,
yeah,
you know, dangling the carrot for the masses, because the masses like really want to see this change, and they really want to see something, you know, they want to see, it's almost like they want to externalize their power and allow somebody else to save them. And that's where, you know, the great deception comes into play, because no one's going to save anyone unless they save themselves, you know, and that's what it boils down to.
yeah. We're here to save ourselves. They just had that Galactic Informers Conference in Florida. And I'm not going to talk bad about any individual people because I never do. But what I will say is that all of these people are all getting all infatuated and in love with all of these ETs that have been talked about, like your Thor hands and all these different ETs, because people are obsessed with looking outside of themselves to be rescued by some force or something or some person or some being. Like they think that Mr. T is going to rescue them, or they think the White Hats are going to rescue them, or they think that the Galactics are going to rescue them, or they're going to get beamed up in a ship. They have all of these beliefs. And the truth is they're not going to be rescued by anybody. This is what Yeshua told me back in I want to say 2018, 2019, something 2018. He said, all of you, he said, Kimberly, the world you knew is going to die. And he said, I'm going to resurrect a new Shambhala. And he said that all of the governments are going to collapse. The history that they told you is a lie. The banking systems will collapse, financial systems, the food system, the medical system, the school systems, everything, every system created by the cabal will be completely collapsed and destroyed. And then out of the ashes of that, we're going to rise like a phoenix and create this new golden age. Basically,
Mhm.
Shambhala is like a kingdom of peace is what it was. I had to actually look it up because he talks cryptically to me sometimes, like in parables and stuff, and I have to go research what it's talking about. And I didn't know what Shambhala meant, and it meant kingdom of peace, basically, or kingdom of heaven. And so we're going to restore the earth to that, but first all of the systems, everything has to completely crumble and collapse. And what we're witnessing right now, we're watching the implosion and destruction of everything, just like the bad guys destroyed the twin towers from inside. I actually know first responders who were there
Mhm.
and said there were never any airplanes that hit those buildings. There weren't any airplanes. That was all CGI. And
Yeah,
that they had rigged the whole bottom floors of all those buildings with explosives
yeah.
to implode them from the inside. What they did to those buildings is what's happening to them. They are getting, because you create karma.
Mhm.
So everything you put into the boomerang of the universe is going to boomerang back at you. So if you're good, you get back good. If you do mean things, you're going to get back, bad things to yourself. They are imploding. It's like God is setting up a lot of explosives around their organizations, and it's collapsing in on itself. And that is what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And that's why we volunteer to come at this time, you know, because it turns out that not only do they invert the system here in this world, but, you know, many extraterrestrials have defected from the light. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the Federation has been compromised as of 2 years
Yes,
ever
I
since
heard.
it infiltrated. And so now the higher arbs, who are known as the Guardian Alliance of the Emerald Order, have reorganized the the new, I guess, cosmic or intergalactic councils as the Galactic Alliance, and they're working hand in hand with the super soldiers of Solar Warden, Radiant Guardians, and it turns out, and this is what I was told, that a lot of the defectors were actually replaced by members of Radiant Guardians. Our own people are actually serving within the Galactic Alliance now, which is beautiful, you know. So yeah, they're trying to hijack all the different dimensions through technology all the way up to the 11th dimension. And the reason it's only up to the 11th dimension is because they can't get past the 12th dimension, because that's the dimension of you know, where it goes into the realms of eternity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they don't have access to the realms of the eternal realms, you could say. But
Yeah.
we do, you know, and we have the codes, we have the God gene, we have the genetic codings that will give us, you know, the star seeds on the earth access to the 12D and above, the 12D and above. But it all starts now, you know. That's why we're here. We're here to, like you said, you know, we're here to implode the system from within.
Yeah.
Because the inversion is, you know, there's a parallel universe called the Phantom Matrix AI loop universe, multiverse, and it's coexisting simultaneously with the organic multiverse of the living cosmos, you know, not the cybernetic artificial one. And we're here to blow up that Phantom Matrix, you know. We're here to
Yep.
restore everything in the cosmos.
Absolutely. And I lost my train of thought, but what I was going to say before was when he came to me and he was telling me all this information, because I had no clue about trafficking. I had no clue at that time. This was 4 years ago. I learned about all these terrible things all at one time. It was really too much for my brain and my heart to handle. And my heart actually hurt for 2 months after I found out about all the children and all the terrible things that were being done to children for thousands of years, really. But one thing he told me is, he said, Kimberly, you can't do this alone. He said, first of all, nobody's coming to save you guys. He said, nobody's coming. He said, I am coming back through you and all the light workers. Okay. He's not going to come here. He told me he would never come back to Earth again in physical form until all of the Earth was 5D, all the humans were 5D, and all the evil was off the planet. He said he wouldn't, you know, come back and show himself. He shows himself to key individuals all over the world. There's people who see him. I'm not the only one. I have all kinds of friends who have seen him and communicated with him and had chats with him, but he's not going to show himself in mass until we are all 5D, and all all the evil has left the planet. And so he told me, he said, Kimberly, you're not a lone wolf. He said, you can't do this. You can't save the planet all by yourself, because I'm always wanting to be like Wonder Woman. Since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be Wonder Woman and save the planet. You know, that was my thing. And he's like, no, you can't do that. He said, you have to get together with all the other light workers, come together. And he said, you guys are the second coming, and you guys are the ones that are going to save the planet, but we have to work, you know, together as a team.
Yeah, that's
and yeah, and so we can't tear each other down. You know, all these people, like in the ET community, I'm not part of the ET stuff. I focus on the spiritual realm, and I focus on Yeshua and his information, because that's what I'm here to bring. I'm here on earth. I'm writing my third book right now, which is all about Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, their true story. And I'm here to bring that information. I'm not here to focus on extraterrestrials. That's not in my plate. It's not in my, what do you want to call it? My wheel, you know, or whatever. It's not part of it. But what I noticed is the people in that community are all mudslinging at each other, just fighting, infighting and mudslinging. And what he keeps telling me is, the longer that this crap goes on, the longer it's going to take for us all to ascend. Because in order for us to really make it through this period of time, we really all have to put down our egos, step aside from our ego, and work together as a team. It's the only way it's going to happen.
I agree. Yeah, that's the only way we're going to do this, because we're all part of the Christ body.
Yeah.
The concept of the 140.
We're the body of Christ. We are the body of Christ. And it's funny because the Catholic Church, which I fled from, you know, I was in the Catholic Church for 30 something years. And then when I found out about what they really do in there, all the horrible things they've been doing and that they do, I fled like crazy. Like the fact that they murdered 200 million women and said they were witches and heretics just so they could take their property and their money and their possessions. And, you know, I mean, the list of the atrocities that the Catholic Church has committed since they were concepted by the first Antichrist named Constantine, ever since that, they have just done terrible things to humanity. And when you are a Catholic and you've been Catholic for your life, or your most of your life, you don't know that you have no clue. You're clueless about all of that. So I left that, and ever since I left that, my eyes have been so open to the truth about just everything, what we're living in, this whole experience that we've been in, what we've been in for 26,000 years, what's been going on. You have to leave the indoctrinated religions before you can really see. You really have the eyes to see and ears to hear, and all of that. Until you remove yourself from the indoctrination, you can't really fully grasp all of what is going on in the universe around you that you're clueless about.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you and I both know that all the major religions were created to control humanity, and they were not created for good reasons. And everybody thinks that Yeshua came down and wanted this church started for him. He never wanted a religion started in his name. He never asked for that. Mm-hmm. He was actually, all of the things that they quote him saying, like asking Peter or Paul or whoever to build the church on the rock, he never said any of that stuff. That stuff was all made up. That was all made up. Exactly. He came here to teach everybody how to ascend, how to have a personal relationship with Mother, Father, Prime Creator, how to become a spiritual being. He was teaching all of the Essene teachings that he learned from the Essenes. I'm basically an Essene and a Cathar, and he was teaching all of those Essene teachings. And instead, the religions didn't like that. So the rabbis didn't like it because he was basically trying to dismantle the Jewish religion, is what he was really trying to do, because it was corrupt. It was completely corrupt, because the people running it they were gambling in the temple, for heaven's sakes. Remember, he goes and he turns over all the tables, and they're like doing business and gambling in the temple. The temple is supposed to be a sacred place. And instead, what are they doing? They're worshiping money. They were worshiping money instead of worshiping God. So he was kind of there to wipe out all of the religion, the indoctrination, and to start a new thing, which is basically the law of one, because we both know that Buddha and Yeshua, who are both teaching the same thing, which is kindness, love, compassion, forgiveness, all these concepts, those are all parts of the law of one, which is the universal spiritual laws that all of the extraterrestrials follow out in space and time. So the rabbis did not like that, and the Romans didn't like it. So what did they do? They killed him.
Yeah, pretty much.
What they did.
Well, yeah. He rebelled against the Cabal during those days under the guise of the Sanhedrin. He called them the Hidden Hand. And Sanhedrin controlled both the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And that's why the Essenes had to isolate themselves from the external world, because the external world was controlled by the beast, which was then Rome. Right. So the beast system has always existed. It originated in Babylon. It's just it reorganized itself as the Roman Empire, 2,000 years after, or 3,000 years after Babylon. And so they were the rebels during those days. And I believe that if Jesus were alive today, which I believe he is, he exists within every single one of us, he would rebel against.
He does.
The modern day Sanhedrin, the modern day Cabal. Christianity is another reorganized form of the Pharisees and Sadducees. There is no
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like history repeating itself.
It is history repeating itself, and what's really, really sad is that so many people over the last 2,000 years have been fully brainwashed by all of it, completely brainwashed. It's like a dark mind spell, just like they've been doing with the media and that thing that they stick into people, it's just brainwashing, total brainwashing.
Exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything is a lie. From the moment we are conceived, subconsciously the programming begins, with things that are uttered by the doctors and the nurses. Words have power. It's designed to keep us in a way under a program. And the programming begins as a kid, the stuff that we hear, the moment they take us to church, the moment they take preschool, it's all part of the program. you know.
Yeah, well, just like when they do circumcisions on boys in the hospital, that's a Luciferian type of a ritual. It's a Luciferian ritual that they do when they do that in the hospital. And they do a whole bunch of Luciferian stuff in the medical system. It's really, really
Well,
bad.
that's done in every organization: religion, educational,
Mm-hmm.
medical, obviously political, government. You can't escape that. You know, how can I say it? There is Luciferianism in everything, and that's why this
Yep.
world is corrupt. You know,
Yeah, it's permeated the entire planet pretty much.
and including the New Age movement. When you think about the
Right.
light, right? How the some of the defectors of the councils of light posing as Galactic Federation agents, particularly those that are channeling from the Federation of Light. It's all it's imposters.
Or
They're
Ashtar Command. Do you know how many people are on social media saying that they talk to Ashtar? It's
yeah.
like, give me a break,
Well,
you know?
the original Astor has a lot to do with the Scandinavian god Odin. Odin is called Asgard, but then later it was changed around to Ashtar. So that's why
Right.
Nordic, but it was inverted in a way. So yes, that is false light. When
Mm-hmm.
terrestrials are posing as gods, it is part of the false light. It all starts with you. And if they don't empower you, if they don't encourage you to seek your own divinity, then they are of the false light. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
why it's important to distinguish the difference between the real Metatron and the
Mm-hmm.
false inverted
Yeah,
Metatron.
there's two of them. I
There's
know, good and
well,
bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And most people don't understand that. Some people are falling prey to the false light matrix, which is their way of controlling the fifth dimension and up. And we don't want that. We want
No.
people, break away from the external programming, because it's shifting from like religion to again giving the power to the extraterrestrials. Now the extraterrestrials are going to be our saviors, and
No,
that
they're not.
yeah, no, they're not exactly, and that is part of
Yeah.
the false light. No one's going to
Mm-hmm.
come save us. We have to save
Right.
ourselves. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of benevolent ETs out there that are actually
Yes, there are.
working within the parameters of Law of One, and they respect us, and they follow the Prime Directive, and they don't intervene. However, they do work from behind the scenes to make sure that we're not openly invaded, and that's all they can do.
Right. Well, when I'm doing counseling sessions with clients, because that's what I do, to pay the bills is, I give out lots of free time here on YouTube, and on social media, giving out free training and teaching all the time. But in order to pay the bills, I do private sessions. And the one thing that I do is teach people how to take their power back, because they are expecting approval from everybody outside of themselves. They're expecting other people to make them happy. They're expecting other people to rescue them, and it's like, stop giving and heal them. Like all these people who believe, and you and I talked about this, about all of the scammers that are selling people DNA upgrade and activation programs. They're saying, oh, I'm going to activate your DNA. There is no human on earth that can activate other humans' DNAs. We started naturally upgrading our DNA in December 2011. And that's when it started. December 21st of 2011 is when we started upgrading and activating, because that was that whole Mayan calendar thing, whatever. That's when we started shifting into this ascension, full blown, ascension process. And our DNA and our cellular body, which is going from carbon-based life form to crystalline, that all started changing after 2012. Actually, the crystalline thing started happening about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that. The DNA upgrades are a natural process. And what I tell people is, all of these people who want to charge you money to either upgrade or activate your DNA, they can't do that. They don't have the ability to do that. That's something your body is doing with the creator. The creator is working on you, and through the central sun and through all of that. That is how we're upgrading through the central sun and through the prime creator. And the only thing you can do about that is you can speed up the process quicker, and you can make it easier by raising your vibrational frequency. So in my book, Ascension 101, which is in my background picture here, I have a whole chapter on how to raise your vibrational frequency, and a whole chapter on how to protect yourself from negative energy and frequency. And the way that you can help yourself with your DNA and your matrix changes that you're going through right now is by keeping your vibration really high and protecting yourself from people and things like EMFs and cell phone radiation that lower your vibration, because your body is going to activate quicker and easier if you keep yourself in a high vibration. But as far as somebody else doing that work for you, I'm sorry to break it to you folks, but you are the ones you've been waiting for. You have to do the work on yourself. You have to do the work on yourself. And my best friend, Sarah, always likes to say this famous saying that she says, which is, the universe wants to see your work. She always says that the universe wants to see your work. So you can't sit here and go, I wish I had $1 million, and then just sit in your house and do nothing and expect $1 million to fall from the ceiling onto your head. It doesn't work that way. You have to get your butt up and out and go do things and work and heal yourself. Part of ascending is being held accountable for everything you say and do, and also doing the work to heal yourself. You have to heal your traumas. You have to heal your past lives. You have to heal your karma. You have to do all of the work on your ego to become enlightened and get rid of what I call the shadow side of your ego. You have to work on the shadow work. That's the dark parts of you, like jealousy and envy and the need to be right all the time, and believing that you're better or more superior to other beings. All of those dark parts of your ego, you have to heal that, and you have to obliterate it, and you have to come into the positive parts of the ego, which is when we collaborate together, we are successful. Instead of competing against everybody and trying to be better than everybody, instead, why don't we become better as a team and as a world unit, a consciousness? Let's try to improve all of humanity. It's that whole service to humanity thing. And people, there's all of these love and light new agers that are trying to do spiritual bypassing. They think you're just going to jump from 3 to 5 without doing any work whatsoever. You're going to go right to 5, thinking that you're just a badass and that you're smarter, prettier, more intelligent, and better than everyone else, being jealous of people who don't have, who have what you don't have, all of that. You can't go to 5D with that. If you don't get rid of all of those nasty shadow parts of your personality and ego, and do all the work on healing yourself and becoming a humble person like Christ and Buddha, you have to become Christ and become Buddha. It's just like the word Christian. All these people who walk around calling themselves Christian, the word Christian means Christ-like. So unless you are walking around walking the talk, you are not a Christian. You are a bullshitter. That's, sorry.
Well, I guess that would include 99% of all those religious fanatics.
Yeah, they're the biggest hypocrites. I'll tell you, the far right radical Christian people are the ones who come onto my channel and attack me and say I'm a demon and I'm going to hell, and because I don't do this and that, I'm going to hell. And it's like, you got to be kidding. I've been following Christ and talking to him since I was a baby. I walked with him. I watched him get nailed to the cross in my past life. And you think I'm not a Christian? I was actually one of the very first freaking Christians on the planet, because I was there and was initiated into it from the beginning. Okay, so for them to say I'm not a Christian, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. It just makes me want to just, laugh for hours after I hear that kind of stuff. Because, one thing that Yeshua taught me, because he has an amazing sense of humor. I don't know if you've ever spoke to him before, Ismail, but he's got an amazing sense of humor. He said, Kimberly, remember what I said on the cross? Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Mm-hmm. Said, next time people say stuff to you, he said, literally throw your head back and just laugh. Mm-hmm. Because he said, they're like kindergartners. They're like little children. They're like little, and you know what the analogy he gave me, because he shows me everything with like parables and analogies and symbolism. He showed me 2 high school football guys at a park throwing a football back and forth to each other. This little 3-year-old kid wanders into their way, gets in their way. Do they go and murder him or kill him? Or no, they go, okay, nice little toddler, go back to your mommy. And then they go back to throwing their thing. That little toddler doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So why would you punish them? So you can't punish what I call the baby souls, the people who are still not awake, the people who are doing these radical religious kind of things. They're young baby souls. The wise old star seeds are all awake now. So all of the really, really old souls, the ancient souls like you and I, who have been around for billions of years, we're the ones that are awake right now. Okay. So the ones that are still asleep, they're just little baby kindergartners. And that's how I teach my clients in sessions how to have compassion for their family members who are against them, who aren't awake, is please see them through the eyes of like a parent with a little child, because they are like little children at a soul level. They have no idea what they're doing. They really don't. They're clueless.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
so you have to forgive them. You have to forgive them because they're clueless. Now people who know what they're doing, and I talked about forgiveness a lot lately with people, that you don't forgive everyone. Everybody thinks that Yeshua taught people to forgive everybody, and that's actually a lie. He told me you don't cast your pearls before swine. What that really means is you don't give your emotions away to people who are not deserving. So you don't give compassion, kindness, and forgiveness to somebody who purposely kidnaps millions of children, tortures, does terrible things to them and kills them. You cannot forgive that. It's unforgivable. They are not worthy of forgiveness. There are some people who are not worthy of forgiveness because they are making a conscious decision with free will to do evil. So beings who are consciously doing evil, you cannot forgive them. You can't. Now, people like our family members who went and got this thing.
Unless they repent and continue and stop.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then we forgive them. But if they're not repenting, then we don't forgive them.
No, if they don't, but the thing is those people, you and I both know the Draco reptilians and all those people, they have no heart. They have no heart chakra. They have no love. They have no compassion. I don't think they're capable of repenting. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen it happen with them ever in thousands of years. I haven't seen any of them, repent. They do evil. They choose to do evil. They don't have any love. They actually hate humans. They want to kill all of us. They have a huge disdain for humanity, and that is their prime directive is kill all the humans, but enslave and torture us first before they kill us.
Yeah, I write about that in my book. That was one of the first directives they were told by their father Lucifer, because the humans were created by the ancient race, which is the Patals, the original spiritual race. They go by many. I call them the central race from
the L race. Is that one of the names for them? The L race or something?
The L, yeah, that's another one. L race, because LEL is the two letters that when you think of all the different Elohim and the archangelics and the different angels, they all end with EL.
Yeah.
So that's very celestial. Yeah, that's part of the first family of light. And so they created us, we were made in their image. And then of course Lucifer, and in defiance of that and to rebel against that, he went ahead and he created his own people, and then that's when the Draco or the reptilians came into being. But the original reptilians were the dragon moths. They were the Omnicrons, the original Siakar. That's what gave the royal bloodline, or when they established the royal bloodline. All the other reptilians are an offshot of that, but the main one where we could say where even Lucifer first incarnated as the red dragon, as described in the book Revelation, he was an Omnicron dragon moth. Yeah.
Wow.
The red dragon. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. So I learned something new every day. I just know he's just extremely evil and turned his back fully against Creator, because that's what I've been shown and told, that he just fully turned his back on Source and basically did the salute, to Source and said, see ya, I'm going to go and kill lots of people all over the galaxy. And that's basically
he did. And when he realized that his own creation was too weak, because the angelic humanoids were very connected to God, very connected to spirit, and very powerful in that regard. And that's when he went about and he's decided to create a second abomination, and that's when AI came into being. So AI was also Lucifer, the ancient original AI, of course.
Wow. I don't know if you know this, but and I think I talked about it in my book Ascension 101, that one thing Yeshua, I asked Yeshua about what about demons, like what are demons, and he basically said that they are AI created by Lucifer to destroy humans, to mess with humans, to torture humans, harass humans, possess humans, da 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 da, whatever. You know, they're basically created, they're minions created by Lucifer to basically target humans. That's what they were created for. And that, you know, is, I'm really into paranormal because I'm really into haunted ghosts and ghost busting and haunted houses and all that kind of thing. And I've had experiences with ghosts since I was a child because I can feel them and I can sense them and all that kind of thing. So what's really interesting is if you go into a place where somebody died, let's say people died there 1,000 years ago, it's not haunted anymore with ghosts, because ghosts only stick around for, I don't know, maybe 100 years at most, a couple 100 years, and then they go on, you know, they go home, right?
Mhm.
Well, the demons, on the other hand, you could go to a place that's 1,000 years old and there will still be the same demon there. And the reason why, I was told, he explained this to me because I had no clue. I'm like, why do you have this house that's 300 years old, and over 300 years of time there's this demon sitting in this house? And they said because it's basically AI that's programmed to go to that specific location and literally sit there and wait for humans to come in so they can be attacked.
Mhm.
So basically, that demon will sit in that castle or house for 3,000 years, 4,000, whatever, and wait until humans show up. And then it's going to attack the humans, possess the humans, attach to the humans, that type of thing. And that is what demons do. They're basically programmed to, with specific mission of, you know, what they're supposed to do, and that's all they do. That's why you can't negotiate with them. You can't have a conversation. You can't like just sit and have a cup of coffee with the demon and hang out with them. They're non-negotiable. you can't you can't do that. You have to obliterate them and clear them out, but you can't make them good. You can't turn them to the light. It's not possible to turn them to anything because they're just created with a specific purpose.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. You know, they're part of that archon energy that in turn manipulates the consciousness of reptilians. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what the reptilians have been known to work with, is the archon energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
And there's a lot of people. Have you met people who've had like archon attachments? There's a lot of
oh,
them
yeah,
out there.
yeah, there is a lot of people
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. And you always can tell because their personality changes. When, you know, one minute they're a really nice person, then all of a sudden they're acting like they're a psychopath. They're just like, you know, mean. And now, you know, their personality, even their facial features. I don't know if you noticed, but their face kind of takes on almost like an, I want to say, an ominous look. It's like they lose all the light from their eyes and their face, because one thing is your eyes are the, you know, what do you call it, your soul, the mirrors of the soul, you know. And I usually can tell a lot by looking into somebody's eyes, and it's like they're devoid of all light in their eyes, you know, when they're being manipulated by the archons. It's like they've, all their light has just been snuffed out.
Yeah, because it sucks away the life energy of the individual, and they feed off of that. You know, that's how the
Mm-hmm.
archons stay alive, as well as the Draco. You know, the Draco throughout galactic history, when they first discovered Lucian Lyra, when they killed off millions of Lyris, man, they got so high off of that, and it's like a heroin intake for them.
Yeah.
They feel powerful, they get a high off it, they feel good, and they've been on this quest to exert as much loosh as possible. And that explains adrenochrome. You know, that explains all the atrocities that have ever happened to not only humans on Earth, but the human population throughout the Milky Way and other galaxies. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, and you know, people have been all caught up on the children, which, you know, I understand because I love children more than I love adults. But what people don't understand is they have been eating, they've been enslaving, bloodletting, and eating humans of all ages, going all the way back thousands of years. It's not just the children. The reason that they like the children is they found out that the children and the babies make better adrenochrome. It's like a stronger, more powerful source of adrenochrome than adults are able to provide. Apparently, when they torment, because they torture them, how they make the adrenochrome is they take the baby or the child or the adult and they torture them. And when you are tortured, you release adrenaline, and you release what's called cortisol stress hormone into your blood. It's the same thing they do to cows. If you go to the market and you see a cow that's got a really dark red spot on it, it's because that cow has been tortured and they've released a lot of adrenaline into the meat. And if you eat that meat, it can actually affect your body in a negative way if you're a human. But what they discovered is when they torture the children and the babies, it creates a more stronger like form of their adrenochrome, and that's why they do that. But they still also do the same thing to adults too. It's not just children.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Within the breakaway groups,
Yeah.
those that have been associated with secret space programs, they talked about how they would take a bunch of humans, right? And they would
Mm-hmm.
feed them to the Draco up in space. And a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
humans were taken off world during the 50s. They call it the brain drain.
Brain drain.
The
Yeah.
brain drain. Yeah, that's when they took like I think hundreds of thousands of humans over into the Mars colony to pretty much feed them to the Draco. You know, of course, most of them became slaves, but it
And
was
their food.
like a buffet for the Draco just to come in and say, I'm going to eat this person, I'm going to eat that person. And it was horrific, you know. And I do remember that there were some skirmishes that took place between the super soldiers of Solar Warden who said enough is enough. You know, you guys can't be doing that to our people. But and of course that's where the schism came about, where you know certain members of the dark side that were part of the ICC and the Dark Fleet, I guess mainly the ICC, that's when they either shifted to the light and they said, all right, we're going to join Solar Warden. And that's when that schism took place between, you know, the ICC and Solar Warden, because at first they were kind of like working together because they had one thing in
Mm-hmm.
common, and that's the protection of planet Earth and the protection of our solar system. But when certain members of ICC started witnessing all these horrific, atrocious things that were going on in space with the humans and the Draco, some of them defected. They've defected from the ICC and they joined Solar Warden, and that's when that schism came about. In like I think it was in 2014. You know, that's
Wow.
yeah. So it was pretty
Wow.
crazy. You know, there was this thing called the Galactic Slave Trade. So they were taking our people off world to not only harvest genetics, to tamper with, you know, to but also to become a food source supply to the Draco across the galaxy. And
Yeah.
that to me was like blasphemous. I was like, in a, you know, you can't. I mean, when you think of like, you know, the worst crimes that you can possibly do is use humans as food resource. You know, that's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you know, thousands of people have gone missing in national parks, and they're pretty sure that that's where they're sending them.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what they do. They take them off world and they use them as a food
Food
source.
source.
And you know, you're a lot younger than me, but do you remember the show? I think it was called Z or V. It was about these Draco reptilians that disguised themselves as humans. They came down and they tried to make everyone on Earth think that they were good and that they were helping, and they were actually shapeshifted, you know, reptilians, and they were actually harvesting humans and eating them. Do you remember that show? I think
I
it.
think I was a kid when that show was premiering.
Yeah.
I never watched TV. I stopped watching TV at the age of 18. But I do remember just seeing like advertising for that show. It was pretty
Yeah. So they basically were showing all of us way before any of us knew, even myself knew about any of this. They were showing that to us when I was a kid. I was just a kid at the time when that was out, and they were showing us this show. I was probably maybe a teenager actually when that show was out, and they were showing that to us, and they were showing us these reptiles that came down in ships, disguised themselves, made themselves look like really good looking human beings, like really good looking.
Mhm.
And then they were taking humans from all over the planet and eating them, using them as the food source. So they're basically showing this to us. And this was back in the 80s. This
Oh,
was like back in the 80s. They were already showing us what they were doing.
I think that was the Earth Alliance and Solar Warden trying to like tell us the truth, because you know a lot of that information was revealed to a lot of the producers and screenwriters back in the 50s and 60s. And so
Yeah.
think that's where they came up with all these concepts, Star Wars, the Matrix.
Gene Roddenberry with Star Trek and all that. I heard that he was contacted by the Andromedans or something like that, and he got all the info from them.
Exactly. He got to, yeah, he figured out, or he was at least informed about the Prime Directive and the different, federations and stuff and how they operated before they became compromised, of course. But,
Mm-hmm.
we're
Well,
in.
I think Tolkien too. Like Tolkien, he wrote all about Agartha. Basically, I think all the Lord of the Rings is showing you the truth about Middle Earth. We have Middle Earth. I mean, all of these planets are all hollow and have people living in cities inside of them. And people think, oh, we have this magma core in the center and blah 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 blah. Well, yeah, we do have some volcanic stuff going through our planet, but in the very center of the Earth, there's all kinds of cities and people living in there, and a sky, and they have their own sun. That
Exactly.
just blows me away, everything.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And again, most people think that's an I guess a deception, but it's really not, because like when you think of like
nope.
everything is a sphere, the universe is a sphere, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
got a torsion field, and everything's made in that like manner. Galaxies have torsion fields. It's a sphere. Planets are spheres. That's why I disagree with the flat Earth
Stars.
concept. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was the
Yeah. Well,
concept.
I disagree with the flat earth, not only because of that, but because when I was young and stupid, I used to astral travel a lot. And I astraled out of Earth all the way out into what they call the void, the dark void. I mean, I went way the hell. I went through the universe, and I still do, actually, once in a while, I still consciously travel and go to different places. But every time I look back at Earth, it's a round ball or sphere. I've never, ever, ever seen it as
Well,
flat ever.
same here, because
Yeah.
I have some memories that are kind of been coming back for the last few months regarding my off-world missions, and I do
Mm-hmm.
remember being stationed on planet Jupiter in one of the Jupiter stations, and just looking back at the Earth and just seeing it as this beautiful blue ball just radiating,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was a sphere. I didn't see it flat. And again, flat Earth is the biggest psyops. It's like they're trying to bring us back to the Dark Ages, because that's what the Jesuits, that's what the Catholic Church made.
Yeah, that was the Jesuit crap that they were spreading was, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and of
And
course, the real truthers during those days, Nicholas Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, which, by the way, were all Templars, were telling us
yeah,
something
I
else.
know.
Yeah, they were all telling us, hey, no, 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 the planets revolve around the sun. They shift this
Mhm.
geocentric model of reality to the heliocentric, and then in turn, the sun with other billions of suns revolve around the galactic core. I mean, and that was the truth. And they didn't publish their work for a long time because they were afraid of the Inquisition. And yet
Yeah, they were terrified.
they want to throw us back to the concept of the flat earth. It's like, come on, are we progressing or are we digressing back to the dark ages? It's people are so gullible. Like I don't even argue with the flat earthers anymore. I just ignore them.
Yeah, I don't. Well, they all attacked me on my videos and posts. I was interviewed by a lot of different people where I told, about it, not that the flat earth was a three-letter organization psyop. And all these flat earthers all came after me and just ripped me a new one up and down in the comments on all my videos, just, chewed me up and called me every name in the book. You're stupid, you're this, you're that, and it's like they're the ones, the joke's on them, because I even asked Creator, because I am a psychic and I've been communicating with Creator, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary since I was like born. Basically, I've been psychically communicating with them. I said, okay, I said, I had a conversation. I said, okay, I astraled out. I saw a blue, beautiful sphere. That's what I saw. Was I seeing the truth? Was that true? And they said, yes. This is what they told me, what you just said. Everything in third dimension. Okay, we're located in the third dimension, not density. Density is a consciousness level, which I explain in my book, Ascension 101, the differences between a 3D fear consciousness, a 4D love, and 5D, which is kind of supernatural, where we get back all our superpowers and all of that. The third dimension is where all of these planets that we're looking at in space and stars and everything are located. And in the 3D, everything is round. Everything is round. Flat is in 1D or 2D. If you're in the first dimension or the second dimension, it would be flat like an amoeba or a pancake.
Exactly.
But in the third dimension, everything has girth to it. Everything is fat, or has girth. You know what I mean?
It's a width, length, and height. in other words.
Yeah.
It's width, length, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can see forward, backward, to the side, up, and above. It's not a flat. If we were
It's
flat,
not
we'd
flat like
all
a
be like
pancake.
ants. Ants perceive in two-dimensional. It's ants, everything is flat. They don't see above.
I know, I know. They don't understand it. And it's so funny, Ismail. Somebody actually posted something to just show them how stupid they are, where they took a lamp and they shined it on and they said the lamp represents the sun. And they shined it on the flat earth, and the entire flat earth was lit up bright day. It was daytime, basically. And then they shined the light on a globe. Half of the earth was lit up, the other half was nighttime. So it's like, come on, people, get a clue. If it was flat and we have this orb in the sky that's shining down, it's not below us, it's above us, it's shining down on us. The entire earth, if it was flat, would all be daylight at the same time.
That's another way of putting it. But
Yeah.
also consider the fact that just like the planets revolve around the sun, well, our sun in the solar system revolves around the galactic core. Our sun is traveling through space. So, that's another way of putting that, putting the flat earth concept to an end. But,
Yeah.
again, many people are going to be shocked when the truth comes out, when there's evidence. One of my friends, Jason Shirka, is actually going to, I think in the next year or so, he's actually going to take a shuttle to Virgin Airlines. He's going to take
Yeah.
a shuttle up to space where he goes beyond the stratosphere, where, into the void, and he's going to see the Earth from outer space, and he's just going to tell us the truth. I was like, yes, finally, we need somebody, that has physical evidence that actually went outside of space, came back and said, hey, this is what I saw. So, yeah, I can't wait for that to happen.
Well, you know that William Shatner went out and then he said there was nothing out there. It's just black. That was his thing. He's like, oh, no, nothing out there, just all black. And I'm like, where did either he didn't go out there or I don't understand that. I don't understand because okay, so I just so you know, because you don't know me that well yet, I have been a lover. I've been obsessed with astronomy since I was a little small girl. Okay. My parents were really into astronomy. All right. And so when I was a kid, we traveled around and we went to all the, what do you call it? The observatories all over, because I grew up in Southern California. So we went to Mount Palomar and we went, all over. We went to Colorado. Well, we've traveled to places like Colorado too as well, and went to observatories there, that were a little different. But we went to all these different observatories all the time, out into the Anza Borrego Desert. When I was in college, I took an astronomy class. I got an A+ in that class because I was so enthusiastic about it. And we got to go out to Anza Borrego Desert and look through a telescope that was only for the college. It was only for the professional astronomers. It wasn't open to the public. Okay. It wasn't like a place the public can go. And we went out, and I've been looking into space and studying the stars since I was a little kid. And for that, and there's all of these truther people out there that are spreading misinformation and saying, oh, there's nothing out there, it's all a holograph and it's just the earth and that's it, and there's nothing, it's just black out there, and it's just, that's all Luciferian stuff. Because what Christ told me is, he said that, Kimberly, there are enough planets and stars and things out there for every grain of sand on planet Earth. Okay, so think about that. Think about how much sand covers the Earth and what a grain looks like. It's like an infinity number of grains of sand on Earth. And he said for every grain of sand, there is a star or a planet out there that the Creator has made.
Mm-hmm. It's endless, according to my research, and this is something that I reveal in my book. Creation, or the event that is causing the expansion of new universes, is an event that is continuous. Mm-hmm. So every day, new and new universes are popping into existence, galaxies, solar systems, and planets. It's endless. We're dealing with infinity. And that's going to be another huge, I guess, going down the rabbit hole for people to really digest when all that comes out.
Yeah, that and the fact that time is a round circle like Earth. You know, everything is shaped round, including the planets and including time. Because when you're outside of Earth and you're in what we call quantum time, because I'm also really into quantum physics, when you're in the quantum field and you're in space or you're in heaven, for example, there is no time. The past, present, future all exist at once. And that's why I explain to my clients when I'm working with them in a session that their guardian angels have the law of non-interference, which they follow the law one, they follow God's laws. They won't interfere with you. So unless you speak up and ask them to help you, they won't help you. And so then they'll say to me, well, how is it that my angels are allowed to save my life if I'm in trouble and they can't read my brain? And I said, because time is a round sphere and they exist in the past, present, future all at the same time. They can see that you're about to be hit by a car. They can see you're about to be kidnapped. They can see you're about to cut your foot open. They can see that you're about to have a heart attack, and they're able to swoop in and save you because they are living in the past, present, future all at the same time. Yeah, because it's a round circle and it just goes and goes and goes for infinity, like the infinity symbol, which is two round circles. It just goes woo, 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 like the infinity sign over and over again for infinity. Never ends.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Yep. Yep. And that's, I try to explain things to people in a very simple way, which is why the book is called Ascension 101, a roadmap for your soul. It's a roadmap and it's totally simplified. That's why it's 101 level, not level 500, not level 1000. It's level 101 because everything in that book is laid out about the ascension, what's going on, what is God. I talk all about what is God. I talk all about your spirit body. I talk about reincarnation. I pretty much answer every spiritual question that spiritual seekers want to know. Like everything everybody wants the answer to, I answer it in that book. And I lay it out so simple so that they can digest it. And I try to explain things the way Yeshua explains it to me, because he knows that I'm a right brainer, creative. I'm not a left brainer. I don't understand really analytical sciencey stuff goes right over my head. What I really, really like is when somebody gives me like a movie picture, which is why he showed me the two football players in the park throwing the ball back and forth, because it was something my human brain that's right brain creative could understand, that these people who aren't awake yet are like these little toddlers, they're just baby souls. And so everything that I do when I write and when I teach people on my channel, my YouTube channel, I explain everything so basic and simplified that even a 5-year-old can watch my channel and understand what I'm saying, because I don't want to be a teacher only for intellectual sciencey people. I want to be a teacher for all humans. So it's important.
So where can people find your book? All your books?
It's on Amazon. And then my other book is, I actually have two, have them right here. The Real Fountain of Youth, an introduction to the peace stress management system. And that's a whole body, mind, spirit healing book. And Ascension 101, a roadmap for your soul. They're both on Amazon, and they're on Amazon worldwide. So they're available all over the world. I have clients all over the world too, that I work with. And my website is Spiritual Growth Journeys, just like my YouTube channel. That's my YouTube channel.
So is that where people go to sign up for a course with you?
Yeah, I have classes. I have lots of classes. I have an energy medicine workshop if you want to learn how to heal people and heal yourself. Nice. It's a 3-video class. And I should have charged $10,000 for it because it's worth every bit of it. But instead, it's only $300. It's 333, because I want everybody to afford to be able to do energy healing work. And so I go over every type of energy healing known to man. I teach people basic skills so they can get going and start healing themselves and other people and help them discern. I've got meditation classes on there. I'm a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor. And I'm also a energy healer as well, but I rather teach people how to energy heal themselves, not do the energy healing on people. And then I've got all kinds of courses. I've got a pendulum course to teach people how to be their own psychic, because my biggest thing is empowerment. I don't want people coming to me and having me spoon feed all the answers to them. I want to empower and teach people how to be their own psychic and go direct to God and get all the answers for themselves. So, and I don't know if I ever told you this, Ismail, but what I was asked to do back in 2011 was, because I've been hearing God since I was a child and communicating two ways. God spoke to me and said, "You're not the only one I talk to." He said, "I talk to everybody on this planet, but he said, they're not hearing me. I want you to teach them how to hear me." And so that is when I started teaching meditation. I actually went back to college in 2009, 2010, and I got certified to be a meditation instructor so that I could teach people how to connect directly with source, how to connect with their angels and guides, how to connect with their higher self. That's really important. But all of that stuff's on my website, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. So
nice. I'll go ahead and I'll put a link in my description as well.
yeah. And I love your book, by the way. I have it here.
Yeah.
For those of you on Ismail's channel who haven't read his book, Our Cosmic Origin, you got to get this book. And I want to tell everybody, I'm just going to make this comment right out there, that a lot of people have been assassinating you about the fact that the book isn't edited and that it's got repeated sentences and run-ons and da 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 da. I just want people to understand that the reason why that is because Ismail wanted to get this information out to the world really, really quick. And if he would have had to wait to find an editor, first of all, you have to find, because I've published 2 books already. It takes a long time to find an editor that is going to be affordable, especially if you're on a financial budget and you don't have a lot of money. It's almost impossible to find them. They're really hard to find who aren't going to charge you $5 million to edit your book. Okay. Then it takes months for them to edit the book. And then what? You wait like a whole year or 2 before you finally get to publish your book. So Ismail didn't want to go through all that. So he put his book out there without sending it to a professional editor. And all of the information in here is 100% awesome and relevant. And you guys need to get over your egos of judging people based on their English or lack of English. You guys, that's part of the dark side of the shadow. You guys need to heal that, because the information in here is what is important in this book, not how he wrote it correctly English. You guys all act like you're English professors trying to like critique him and grade him in a class. He's not going to English class in college. Okay. He wrote information because he's here. Ishmael is here just like I am to serve humanity, to help all you guys to ascend and teach you all. And you need to have respect for that. I'm getting sick and tired of all the disrespectful people who diss on us 24/7. When we are here giving up our free time, you and I, instead of being on YouTube here, we could be hanging out with our kids, petting our animals, going for a walk in the forest. There's 50 million things that you and I could be doing. But instead, we are here giving our free time to help humanity. I don't get paid. I don't get paid on YouTube because YouTube has me, what do you want to call it, blackballed or whatever they do. So I don't get paid any money for doing these YouTube videos. This is my free time and your free time. You're not making any money either. We both have low, what do we have? 9,000 followers. We don't have 100,000 or 1,000,000 followers. So people need to have a little bit more respect, because this information that you put out in this book is fantastic. And just because it's not perfectly edited and English is perfect and yada, whatever, doesn't mean that it's a bad book. It's just that people need to get over themselves. So sorry, I had to speak my truth.
Thank you for that. Just to let you guys know that I actually did edit it, but the lady who formatted it sabotaged me, and they put it through the printer without me overseeing the last, without me, I guess, just doing a final read through. And so it was edited, because when I compare that to the file that I have, my file has no misspellings, it's got no errors. And, it was a few $1,000s to get it edited, and I had to borrow the money. But again, it was like right when they were asking it, Amazon was asking for it to be formatted. And so we hired somebody to do that for us. And then she submitted it over to Amazon without us reading it. And then that's when they went ahead and they printed it like that. So I was completely sabotaged. Well, it turns out that lady was a fundamentalist Christian. I should have Yeah, so now I'm actually in the process of re-editing it through somebody that is not going to sabotage it. I'm going to do a final read through, and I'm adding a new chapter that's going to segue into the next book, which is our Cosmic Origin Volume 2, The Gods Among Us. That book is going to be powerful.
Wow. Well, if you want a professional editor, my editor is Peter Messerschmidt, and he is freaking amazing. He is absolutely, I've had a lot of editors that I've worked with over the years on different things, and he's awesome. He's the one who edited my Ascension 101 book, and
oh, nice.
He's incredible, and his fees are very affordable. And he's absolutely excellent. So I write for anybody writing a book. You can contact me and I can give you his contact information if you need a good editor. But I didn't know that. I just assumed that you just published it really quick to get it out there, because a lot of people do that. They just want to get it out really fast.
I did. I was kind of like, pushing it, but at the same time, I did go through an editor, and again, it was like right at the last moment where the person that formatted it before they submitted it to Amazon kind of just messed things up for me. And but it's going to be a new edition that's coming out in the next few weeks, and that's going to be totally corrected. And we are going to give a 50% off discount for those that bought the first book to get the second.
Awesome.
Second edition, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I just think everybody needs to have this info. And honestly, your book and my book are kind of like a good partner book together, because I don't cover the information you cover in your book. I cover totally different types of things. And people need to know all of that. Like, they need to know all of it. So it's important, but I was just kind of sticking up for you because I noticed all these people character assassinating you over the English in the book. And I just thought that was really rude and disrespectful, because it's not about the English. It's about the information that you're putting out, which is important information that needs to get out into the planet. So, I become mama bear for people when it comes to people who I care about, whether it's my friends, my family members, even my tribe on my Spiritual Growth Journeys group on Facebook. I'm super protective of everybody. I'm a protector, and probably because when I'm not in this form, I'm a guardian angel. That's what I do. I'm a guardian of planet Earth. I'm one of the guardians. So when I'm not in this body, I'm guarding the planet and guarding everybody on it.
Yeah, I know that. It's but somebody has to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But I go mama bear on people when they try to attack any of my friends or any of that. Oh, my back is starting to hurt, so I'm going to go do some yoga.
Yeah, actually, I have to get ready and walk my dog. She keeps coming to me like, "Hey, you forgot to give me a walk this morning." That's the telepathic message my dog is giving me.
Yeah, probably sitting there looking at you with the little puppy eyes. They do that.
Yeah, she was like actually standing right next to me, just looking straight up. And she was telling me, "When are you going to walk me? When are you going to walk me?" I'm like, "All right, give me a few more minutes. Give me a few more minutes."
Yeah, we'll sign off. Thank you for having me on your channel. I appreciate it, and thanks for coming on my channel on the roundtable. And maybe you and I can just sit on my channel and have a conversation about different things as well. Next time we can go on. I'm not interviewing people. I'm not an interviewer. I don't do that. I have conversations with people from time to time, about important subjects, but I don't interview people because it's just, I'm not a news reporter. It's not my thing. So
I feel you.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again. So thank you. I appreciate you and all the work you're doing out there to help humanity to move through this ascension process. So
this is a pleasure. Thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah,
thank you for the work.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Anything else, or I guess we're done.
Yeah, thank you for watching. For the viewers out there, thank you for your time, and I hope that the conversation today was very enlightening.
Yep. Hopefully you take away at least one new idea with you off this video. That's helpful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ismail.
Thank you, Kimberly. We'll see you later.
Okay, so I stopped recording.
Oh, it says it's still recording.
That's on your end.
On my end? Okay, here, I'll stop recording now.